Today we're going to talk about gentle parenting, a parenting style that's taken Instagram by storm, an app that seems to push pro-segregation, and my first heckler on the show. All that and more on Jake's Takeaway. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jake Critcher. Hope your week's been good. Mine's been a bit of a whirlwind, so pardon my dust here, as it's been a little bit hectic to try to get all the stuff done for this show, so forgive me if it doesn't look quite as polished as usual. We're going to get right into it here. Gentle parenting. It's a phenomenon that's taken Instagram by storm, and it's a style of parenting that it's in the name, gentle, so it involves a lot of letting children kind of learn for themselves, make their own mistakes, and it gives them more options, maybe not more options, but it gives them more opportunity to choose things for themselves. I'm not going to critique gentle parenting itself. However, the people that push it on Instagram, they kind of rub me the wrong way. So I've got some friends that are kind of buy into this stuff, and I'm not gonna fight them for doing that, or even say it's bad or whatever. And I might lose some points in this realm here, but it's probably an unpopular opinion of what I feel here. However, the people pushing this just come off so smug, and for me, maybe it's a me issue that I got to work on, but anybody who's smug, I automatically am skeptical of what they say. You just have overconfidence. You're a little bit rude. And all these videos, they come in the Instagram stories, they basically tell you why their parenting method is better than anybody else's, and it just comes off so smug. It's just hard to trust them. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, my friends that buy into this stuff, I'm sure they'll have wonderful kids, even if they use these methods. They're good people, so I don't have any worries in that department. It's not like I think this is a terrible method of parenting. But one of the reasons I have a hard time trusting it is just that they're so dang smug. But another main issue is that their kids, often in these videos, they'll show their kids and they're like 2. And I'm like, your kids just aren't old enough to really see the end results of this parenting style. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but you can't possibly know you're right yet. So maybe get off your smug high horse. I don't know, just a thought. Now, on paper, it looks like really good stuff. I've been on the receiving end of 2 parenting styles. My mother was quite gentle in a lot of ways. And then my father, you could say, was the total opposite spectrum. It was just overly aggressive. So you could say I've had a taste of 2 different worlds there. Now, would I say it was per se gentle parenting? Probably not on my mom's side, but certainly was more gentle than my father. So I can see the appeal to this, and I know a lot of people have, daddy issues or no dad at all, or even their mother could be aggressive in a lot of families. So I can understand the appeal in wanting gentle parenting for your kids, because the first thing you want to do as a parent. Now, I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to say for sure, but I would think if I had a kid, and I'm thinking in the future when I do, the first thing I'm going to want to do is fill the voids that I felt like were missing when I was a kid. Now, that might open me up to having different holes that my parents didn't create in my kids' lives. But that's neither here nor there. But I can understand how you might want gentle parenting if you grew up with like an aggressive parenting style, or just absent, even just having somebody there to tell you you're doing well, or, well, actually, I guess that's kind of against the gentle parenting thing. You shouldn't be overly direct, if I'm understanding correctly. So if they make a picture and you don't want to overly praise it so that they don't think only those kinds of pictures are good, and I don't know, it's a little bit gray for me. But yeah, it's like, it's just so untested. Your kids aren't old enough to really understand. They're not old enough for you to understand what the end result really is. So for people to come in and attack everyone else's parenting style so that they can push this gentle parenting. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm really not. It's just so smug. I can't get over it. If that's a me problem, that's all right. But maybe just take a step back. Just take a step back, man. There's other parenting styles that I'm sure work just fine. And I know plenty of good people that will use this method, and their kids will be fine too. It's just don't be so dang smug about it, all right? Just take it easy. So moving on, I was appalled to see something that was advertised to me while I was minding my own business, being a total angel and innocently minding my own business, scrolling on my phone, and this thing was advertised to me. It was an app called Haiti. Now, I'm going to read the description for this, and you can tell me if it sounds good or bad. Haiti, Black News and Podcasts. Haiti is a news aggregation app highlighting content from Black publishers. Haiti is a Black-owned personalized news app highlighting BLK, don't know what that is, culture from Black publishers into one feed. I just want to know every time the word Black is used, it's capitalized. Haiti is the easiest way to stay up to date on news and information that matters most to you, that you can tailor to your own interests, where you can catch all the conversations, interviews, breaking news, the BLM movement, and every matter that concerns you as it happens when it happens. For years, Black journalists have been underrepresented among organizations across America, and social needs and demands more inclusive news and information not readily available in most apps. It's been more than 190 years since the creation of the BLK Press. Still don't know what that is. And diverse voices are more relevant than ever. There are several content aggregators today, however, all focus primarily on content related to the broadest consumer community. Broadest, huh? The broadest. All right, moving on. Very few companies focus on utilizing the nation's Black newspapers, magazines, and other media companies delivering invaluable coverage across America today. Maybe because they're not supposed to exist anymore? Just a thought. Haiti has changed that dynamic with a comprehensive... You get the picture. They've changed the dynamic by quite literally segregating themselves. Now, wasn't it a good thing when we stopped doing that? Wasn't it a good thing when Black voices were put into the mainstream newspapers? Was it not a good thing when Black people didn't have to sit in the back of the bus? I mean, I'm just throwing some ideas out there, but I'm pretty sure this might be a step backwards. Now, the first reaction, obviously, is if this app were a white people only app, then all hell would break loose. And that's true. It would be terrible. I would not want that app to exist either. But the fact that this one is openly advertised and nothing is happening is just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I don't know if it's quite racist, but it is certainly segregationalist. I mean, why would you... I just don't understand how this is being pushed. No one's saying a word. I mean, I know why they're not saying a word, because they're Black. I mean, that's really the only reason. If this happened with white people, or honestly any other race, it would be like so shouted down and beat to death. And honestly, that would probably be a good thing. But the fact that this one is not is really unfortunate. The slightly less obvious reaction to seeing this app is that if there were actual white supremacists out there, and there probably is, I don't know if it's nearly as many as people that make this app might think there is, but if they're out there, would they not be gleefully dancing in the streets that this app exists because they're voluntarily segregating themselves and separating their news from other people's news? Just explain to me how this makes society better. How does this bring everyone together? What about this would not make a white supremacist totally gleeful? I can't wrap my mind around that one. I'm not sure they can either, because I don't think they really thought it through. Mind-boggling that this stuff is just openly advertised. Can't even believe it. The most racist people out there would want your voice totally separated from the mainstream. That's the first thing they would want. They want you secluded, demoralized, and just not part of the main part of society. You're doing them a favor if you really think they're out there and you really think you're oppressed. And if this isn't proof that like white privilege doesn't exist, I don't know what is, because if a white person posted something like this, their life would be totally and utterly ruined, completely ruined. I mean, I was just talking about J.K. Rowling in the other episode. She did one stinking thing that they didn't like, and they're like ruining her, they're just constantly badgering her and ruining her career and demoralizing her just for this one disagreement about transness. I can imagine the scale is only multiplied if it's about race. I would expect nothing less if I were to make an app like this for anybody to take me down, and they would be right to do so. I wouldn't deserve any sort of fame or credit for making an app like that. So it just blows my mind that this even exists. This is like, you can't see this stuff and tell me that white privilege is a thing, because white people could not do the same thing, and they would totally be possibly even jailed. People have been arrested for this stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's right, and they probably get out in the end, but standards, people. Just get your priorities fixed. All right, everyone, I've got some good news. I've got a heckler. So this is confirmation that I must be doing something right. I got my first heckler the other day. I had a video up for no more than, 8 to 10 hours, and within that time I got a heckler. And, well, RoboVac says in response to nothing I said, "That's almost a beard." Well, RoboVac, if that's your real name, if you ever want a closer look to really critique this beard, come watch the show. I've also had a total of 4 comments, so that actually makes you one of my most active fans. Congrats, man. The video was up for not even a day, and it was my first YouTube short, which isn't to whine, not to whine or cry, but it's an example of where our culture is right now. We doom scroll on these apps and do nothing, while also resenting anybody who does anything. This short wasn't even showing my opinions, honestly. It was just a teaser to get you to click the show and watch the whole episode. This guy just felt the need to squash whatever it was that didn't have his name on it in a fleeting reaction with my content. Well, your name's on it now, man. Welcome to the show. The thing about the internet is you can't say things and be ignored. This guy hasn't been squashed. Along those lines, though, leave a comment in the video below, and I'll definitely read it. I may even say it in the show, even if you hate my guts. I'm not opposed to critique. I'm not opposed to differing opinions. I'll totally discuss it with you, or at least react to it. So, thanks RoboVac for the content, and anybody else who might leave a comment, whether it be positive or negative. I like the interaction, so keep it up. Thanks, man. All right, on to entertainment. So, you may have heard a few years back, well, I guess more than a few years, probably about 2014, 2015, a little service called MoviePass came out, and it was all the rage for a while because it allowed you get this debit card in the mail, and it allows you to see unlimited movies all month long for $10 a month. Now, notice I said that it used to exist, because that is a horrible business model, and there's no way they could have survived on that. $10 a month and unlimited movies. So I took advantage of it, and some of my family members and my friends did. We really just watched as much as we could on that $10 a month. But after a few months, it didn't take them long to kind of pull that back and like reduce the amount of movies you could see and reduce the particular movies you could see. You couldn't see on opening night, stuff like that. And it got worse and worse until they finally went out. Well, they're back. They've come back with a new statement. They had all the same email list people, and I got an email as well as anyone else I knew that had the original membership. And they're rebooting, and they're trying a new business model. So of course I signed up. I mean, why not? $10 a month. Well, actually, it wasn't $10 a month. They had to change that model too. There is a tier for $10 a month, which is really cool that they kept that price. But you are limited to like 2 to 4 movies, depending on how many credits you have to spend to watch the movies. So I opted up for the mid tier. It's about $20, and I can see 5 to 7 movies, I believe. So needless to say, the figure for the business actually looks more reasonable, and hopefully they don't go out again. I really don't think that'll happen. I think there's a market for it too, because people miss the theater. I know I certainly do, and I definitely prefer to see things in theaters, especially stuff that I don't plan on buying later or renting, or I'm not gonna wait for it to come on streaming. It's just kind of nice to go see it, and it doesn't really cost me any more than the membership I already pay for. So that's something I'm really into. However, I've had a pretty rough experience with the company so far, and let's just say my impressions have not been good. So I ordered the card, right? And it's in a beta program right now. I can have up to 10 guest invites, so if you want one of those, hit me up. However, I don't know if it'll work if my account's not fully active. So I ordered the card. It's supposed to take up to 10 days. Well, at 17 days, I decided, okay, it's finally time to message somebody. So I sent them an email and said I hadn't gotten my card yet. A couple days later, I got an email saying, your card has arrived, activate it. And then at the bottom of that email, it said, if it's not here, click this button. And so I did that because it still wasn't there. Clicked the button, contacted support again. Nothing for like 5 days. Finally, I reach out again on the app. They have a chat app, or excuse me, a support chat feature in the app. Use that. 3 days after that, finally got a contact back saying, please send us your address and we'll send you a new card. Oh, great. I got to wait all over again. Minimum or maximum 10 days, hopefully this time. So I go to respond to this chat and it had closed. I opened it up within 2 minutes and the chat had closed. It ended. So I had to open a new chat and I had to screenshot that chat and send it to this new one and be like, look, I got this far last time. Please don't make me do this again. And I sent that in, and I haven't had a response. It's been over a week now. So, MoviePass, you're really letting me down here. This is after a failed business model, so I hope you can pull it together, because I do want to use your service, but you're making it very difficult for me. Moving on to some more entertainment. GoldenEye 64 is one of the biggest shooter classics of all of gaming history, and it is back as a port and slight remaster. Some of the frame rate's been improved. It runs a little bit better. It came to Nintendo Switch and Xbox rather suddenly, but it's been pretty cool going back into the retro game. It plays pretty much exactly the same, with some updated controls, and then the game just running better and looking better. So that's really cool if you want to check that out. Downsides include the Switch version is online and the Xbox version is not, so it's a bummer. I'm more of an Xbox player and it doesn't really go online there, so that kind of stinks. However, the Switch online is not great, so it's not really much of a loss, I guess, because if you go online, it's going to be slow and choppy and it's just poor connection, so I guess it's not that great from what I'm told. But if you want to just classic experience, it's still couch multiplayer. You can play up to 4 people on the same screen, so that's really cool. And it's I got together some family and played it. It was a good time. And on Xbox, unfortunately, it's not sold separately, which is a huge bummer to me. I told a friend about it and I felt bad because I deceived him, because it's not sold separately. You have to either have the update for Rare Replay, the game, or you have to have a Game Pass membership, and it's included in Game Pass. Why they did that, I have no idea, but I suppose maybe it gets more subscriptions for them. Anyway, it might be worth checking out for you. If you already have Rare Replay, make sure that's updated. To my understanding, it's included in that, so make sure that's updated and you'll get access to GoldenEye, so cool stuff. Another game I've recently started is Atomic Heart. It came out this past Tuesday, also on Game Pass. You're going to hear a lot of that because I have Game Pass, and that's really how I do most of my gaming these days, because I'm not going to buy new games anymore. They're just very expensive, especially since the price went up to $70, and with inflation and everything, it's just kind of like, I was already not paying full price, and then inflation got bad, and now I'm really not paying full price. So if you're like me and you like Game Pass, then here you go. So Atomic Heart, it's about Soviet Russia if they won the war, which is really interesting. But then on top of that, it's actually very similar to Wolfenstein in the sense that it's like the side that in real life lost, but if they won in the game. And then technology continued to advance like quickly, more quickly than it actually did in real life. So there's like these robots and they become corrupted, or rather they're controlled by a hive mind, and an enemy comes in and tries to sabotage this Soviet business and takes control of the robots and makes them all think that everyone around them is a hostile enemy. So then they all get hostile. It's got a level of creepiness to it. The robots themselves are eerie looking. They look like crash dummies, and their mouths don't move when they talk and stuff, and distorted voices. So I was looking at that. I'm like, that looks like a good time. Maybe not for you so much if you don't like the scary games, but it's definitely not a horror, I would say. It's definitely got its creepy elements, but I booted that up and I played that for about an hour and didn't really get to shoot anything or hit anything because the intro was so annoyingly long. A lot of walking and talking and learning the backstory, which is fine, but an hour is a little bit long, so I can't really tell you if it plays very well or not. I might update you again next week. But anyway, so that's something that looks cool to me. The graphics are beautiful. They really are. And so far, it's nothing terribly new. But again, I haven't had a whole lot of time to get into the gameplay. But just something I've been checking out. So, all right, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Jake's Takeaway. I'm your host, Jake Critcher. If you have the time, please leave a comment and subscribe and like. Make sure you get the notifications for the next episode. It's every Thursday at 3:30. Please tell me about your friends. Please give me a review. That helps a ton. You have no idea. And it helps me get into the algorithm and get discovered from other people. So, but if you know anybody that might be interested in this sort of thing, or maybe someone that would hate my guts, that's fine too. Send them my way and we'll get this thing going. Thanks again for watching Jake's Takeaway. I'm your host, Jake Critcher. See you next week. Hey!